Howdy everyone, welcome to another episode of Hex Hunter. Today we're going to do a quick addendum to our MMO TCG series, and we're going to go over the order of play a little more closely, as well as the priority system. So let's jump into a quick AI game, and let's get an idea of how the priority system works, as well as paying attention to our order of play. So we're going to be playing a 2-color deck that's a fun deck that just makes me giddy a little bit. And it is a Sapphire Wild deck that tries to make the best use of Raptors and Ancestors Chosen. So we have an Ancestors Chosen in our top hand, as well as an Oracle Song, and enough to hit our double diamond threshold, so we're going to keep this one. So starting off, we see that he's already gone through into his first main phase. He is playing an Animanthian Scrivener, and the Scrivener has gone on to this area, which is the stack, and it has passed me priority. So if I had anything I could play, I would be able to do it now. So you see, each of the abilities is going on the stack. So he comes into play, then when this troop enters play ability, this or another troop enters play, control gain 1 health. So that hit the stack, allowed him to gain 1 health. And each phase, we're passing priority. So he's going into his end phase. So he had a chance to discard, it synced up our turn, and now it's going to be at my prep phase into my draw. So now I'm in my first main phase. So what am I going to do? I'm going to drop a Sapphire resource, and I'm going to play my Ancestors Chosen. Now if I drop my Wild, I wouldn't have been able to play a card, but because I dropped my Sapphire, I am able to play him. This is something you have to pay close attention to in your dual color decks, to make sure that you have enough threshold to be able to play. So we pass priority to go through my turn. Now we're starting at his. So he's using his power to give him life drain. So you can see this is the champion power for Dimid. 2 diamond, 2 charges, target troop gets life drain this turn. And I bet he's going to come over here and attack. Well, we want to keep our Chosen in place, so we're going to soak it, and he's going to go up to 22. Now, Mono Diamond as a shard type can get pretty strong if you pull the right cards, that is for sure. Because if you get a Righteous Paladin and play with a Scrivener, then just playing creatures can get out of control very soon. We don't have any Wild in our hand yet, so we're going to play another Diamond. This also makes sure that we can use our Diamond power as well. We're not going to attack. We could attack here. We can limit some of his damage. Now, one of the things in alpha, and because it's alpha, not all life drain is working properly yet. So, for instance, he went to 21 from playing. He should have gone to 22 for the Scrivener actually hitting my guy. But he didn't. So we'll see how that comes down again. So we have another Scrivener. This power now activates twice. As you can see, we're allowed a priority chosen each time. Swings again. So our ability goes off. We get a couple more ghosts. And we draw a resource. Let's go ahead and get down a Wild threshold. The reason we drop that instead of our other diamond in this case is that if we run into anything in the deck with 2 threshold, now we'll be able to drop a Wild as well as a Sapphire. Now this is going to be dealing 2 damage a turn. We still have plenty of time. We're going to go ahead and use our Oracle Song. You have to choose a target champion. So now that we've targeted, we pass priority, goes on the stack. Opponent has a chance to respond, goes through, and so now I have a Wild Growth and a couple more resources. So right now we have plenty of resources for the deck. Now this will be a nice combat trick in case something gets a little out of hand in a few moments. At the moment we are expecting to continuously take some. So now he's playing this card, Noble Citizenry. It's a 4 for 2/3. Now the best part about it is that it gives the +2/+2 permanently when it enters into play. So he's going to put that on one of the Scriveners. He's going to be gaining quite a bit of life. And so now he's swinging over for 4. We don't want to lose the Chosen because we want the flyers from the deck, so we're going to eat this amount this time. So we are definitely taking a little bit of damage, but each turn we're getting more of our ghosts, which give us a cantrip. One thing that I've noticed so far is that the shuffling mechanic is not the most savvy in the world, and we have a tendency to get clumps of cards like these. So at this point I could time ripple one of his guys. I don't want to time ripple this one because he'd just be able to play it back down and give another thing +2/+2. So in this case, we'll be able to make up our damage potential if we bounce up a Scrivener. I think in this case it's better to hold on for the combat trick and see what they've got going on. So we'll go ahead and play down a key. We'll go ahead and pass. We want to do a defensive combat trick. And we have 2 mana open to be able to play Wild Growth. This is a fantastic quick action. 1 for 1 green threshold. You give a troop +3/+3 for the turn. You shuffle the Wild Growth back into your deck, and next time you draw that specific card, its cost is 0. So it keeps coming back over and over again, and it ends up panning out pretty well. So the +2/+2 went on this guy. So we know that these 3 creatures are going to come pass on over. And so now we're going to go ahead and give our guy +3/+3. We're going to move into the Declare Defense. So you have to be very careful on here that you don't accidentally pass through. We want to block 1 guy. So we've got 1 Scrivener out of the way. And on our next turn, we're going to void this guy. Alright, so we're now in our prep phase. So we're going to drop down another resource. We definitely need to get this damage off the board. So we're going to activate its ability, target, pass the priority to our opponent. Opponent passes back. We now move into our next phase. Not going to do anything else for that one. Now we're going to end up cutting this pretty close before we stabilize and gain control, and that's okay. We just have to always be careful. So now we don't have a combat trick. We're going to take this 3, and so we now have a 2-turn clock timer. And now we have our first spirit. So we're going to go ahead and drop a resource. We want to use his ability to draw a card. So 2 diamond resources, basic ability, draw a card. Alright, so now we have our 1 cost ghost. Allows us to draw a card. So now we have this guy. So he can transform another card into himself, which is not a bad play by any means or any stretch. But we have 5 open resources, and we have to decide what we want to do. I think in this case, we want to go ahead and run with the Oracle Song, because there's a chance that we will get more of our 1-drops. So we'll draw the cards. So we got a Polymorph Dingler that we'll be able to use. And so we have a lot of single creature control right now, and that's not bad. So we're not going to attack with this one. We're definitely going to make sure that we block and take the make sure that we prevent damage this turn. Now there is a chance that the AI will choose not to block. It all depends on what they've got in their hand. But they've decided to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and take the 2. And we're going to block and make sure that that Scrivener dies. So now we continue to get our ancestors chosen. got another one. So now we have a flyer come in. Allows us to draw again. Sapphire resource. Now we have our wild root dancer. This guy is fantastic. We have all the threshold to bring him in. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop him down. Now we're going to play our resource, and this is where the order of play comes in. Now I can activate his ability, and I can give someone +2/+2. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to this flyer who I want to block. Make sure that our priority goes through. And so now he's a 4/4. So now I've prevented all of my additional damage going forward. In addition, I'm going to leave open mana for a time ripple. So we're going to move into our attack phase and finally attack to start taking down his health. So we're not too worried about those guys. So we're going to attack with both of them. He can't block. He does have 7 open resources, but he's only got 2 cards in hand. So now it is unlikely that he will want to attack with this card, but they're still working on the AI, so there's still a chance that he will come barreling down at us. But he didn't. He passed. So now our Ancestor's Chosen goes off. Alright, so now we have our wonderful Pack Raptor. So Pack Raptor is the other part of this deck. So the deck continuously fills up so that we get 4 Raptors in, and then each turn we're getting in 2 Ancestors Chosen. And ideally you have it so full of Raptors and Chosen that every time you draw a Chosen you get into a Raptor. Every time you draw a Raptor you play it down and you're pumping all your other Raptors. Now in this case, what do we want? We are going to do something a little mean, but also a little fun. We're going to go ahead and pass priority, and we're going to attack with both of our flyers. Hit with both of them. And we're going to neutralize his abilities, and we're going to turn him into a Dingler. So now I just have a 0/1 sitting here, and so now we have a Quick Strider, a 2/2 or a 3/2/2 Swift Strike. But he no longer has any coming in play abilities. We have a nice full deck. We're definitely not worried about mill occurring, and we have plenty of resources. We have a brand new Wild Growth. So now we're going to move in, attack with both of our flyers, pass the turn. Now the next thing we want to worry about is we're going to make sure that we worry about the priority in our next interplay here. So he's in his first main phase, and he's already skipped to his second main phase. We're going to take this time and we're going to bounce the card back into his hand and increase its cost up. And the reason we did that is we want to just force him to limit his options because we don't know exactly what he'll be doing. Alright, we have another Spirit. Sensei of the Milky Eye, or as he's currently known, the Moon Aryu Sensei, who will give us another card to give us another Raptor. And so now we can swing with 3 of our flyers. And in fact, I think we'll go ahead and end the game. So we're in our first main phase now. We're going to pass priority to declare our attacks. So we're now going to allow him, we're going to attack, which gives him the priority. He passes it back, and now we're going to use a Wild Growth on this flyer, giving him +3/+3. He had a chance to respond, didn't respond, passed it back, and so now he's going in his declared defense. He can't block any defenders. Pass a priority again, and now deal 11 damage. And that brings us the victory. I hope y'all enjoyed watching. This is just a quick example game to really take a look at how the pass priority system works and how making sure that you pay heed to your order of play can affect what you play as well as how quickly you can get things onto the field. So if y'all have any questions, don't hesitate to leave any comments or send me a private message. This is going to be a supplemental primer to the MMO TCG series. So we're going to be doing different ones of these for different items that come up through the play process as the Hex Alpha evolves. So if you have anything that you'd like to see specifically or any subject you'd like touched on, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. Hit that like and subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching. I'm Mokog, and this is Hex Site.